The median American household earning $100,000 a year is statistically broke. After taxes, rent, and debt, they have less than $200 left by the 15th. This isn't a budgeting problem. This is a systemic wealth extraction machine. The system was never designed for you to accumulate, only to consume. A $100,000 salary in 2026 has the purchasing power of $61,000 in 2010. You got the raise. The system raised the price of everything else faster. Inflation isn't the side effect. For them, inflation is the product. Every dollar you earn is taxed. Every dollar you spend is taxed again. The government takes 37 cents before you ever touch your dollar. Then the landlord takes 40% of what's left. Welcome to the silent tax. Housing costs have increased 312% since 1980. Wages? 117%. You were told to work harder. Nobody told you the math was already against you. 6 figures sounds like success. It's actually the new entry point to survival. And the worst part, most people at this income level are too ashamed to admit it. That shame is engineered. It keeps you isolated. It keeps you compliant. Here's what no financial advisor will say out loud in a client meeting. The financial industry profits most when you stay confused and dependent. Mutual funds, 401ks, index funds, built to enrich the manager, not the client. The 401k was created in 1978 not as a retirement plan, as a tax loophole for the wealthy. Ted Benna discovered it. Congress weaponized it. Wall Street monetized it. You funded it. Every payroll deduction you've ever made has been someone else's investment capital. The average American pays over $500,000 in interest to banks in their lifetime. Your mortgage is designed so that you pay the interest first for 22 years. You don't own your house. You're renting money from a bank to rent it from the market. Student loan interest has generated $1.7 trillion in wealth, none of it yours. You borrowed money to make yourself more valuable to a system that undervalues you anyway. Corporate profits hit a record $3.3 trillion in 2023, while real wages fell for the third straight year. Productivity has risen 65% since 1979. Worker compensation? 17.5%. That gap, 47.5 percentage points, is the largest wealth heist in modern history. And it was entirely legal, every single step of it. The tax code is 70,000 pages long. The wealthy wrote 69,000 of them. A hedge fund manager pays a lower tax rate than the nurse who saves his life. Carried interest, step-up basis, depreciation loopholes. These are words they never taught you. The wealthy don't earn income. They engineer appreciation. That's the only difference. Elon Musk paid 3.27% in federal taxes between 2014 and 2018. You paid 22% last Tuesday. They borrow against assets to live tax-free. You work for cash and get taxed twice. This is called the buy, borrow, die strategy. It is completely legal, and you've never heard of it. Your financial ignorance isn't your fault. It is, however, your problem. Schools don't teach investing. They teach compliance. There's a reason for that. A compliant worker is worth more to the economy than a financially independent one. The moment you stop needing a paycheck, you stop being useful to the machine. Healthcare in America costs 4 times more than the OECD average. and your employer controls your access to it. You can't quit. You can't complain. You can't afford to be sick. That's not employment, that's capture. The average American is 3.7 weeks from financial collapse at any given moment. One layoff, one medical event, one divorce, the entire structure collapses. The middle class was the most successful propaganda campaign in American history. It was designed to give workers just enough to stay working and not enough to stop. A thriving middle class is a stable labor supply. Never confuse stability with freedom. The people who built this system do not live inside it. Remember that. The top 1% own more wealth than the bottom 90% combined. This is not a statistic. This is a verdict. In 2023, the 3 wealthiest Americans held more wealth than the bottom 160 million. And their wealth compounded through every recession, every pandemic, every crash. Recessions don't destroy wealth. They transfer it from the unprepared to the positioned. They buy your fear. They sell you hope. That is the entire mechanism of market manipulation. CNBC exists to manufacture urgency. Bloomberg exists to signal patience, but only to subscribers. The information asymmetry between you and the institutional investor is the entire game. High-frequency trading firms execute 10,000 trades per second. You're competing in milliseconds you can't see. The stock market is not the economy. It is a casino with better PR. And just like a casino, the house has already calculated your odds before you sat down. Everything you were told about money was told to you by someone who profits from your ignorance. The exit exists, but it doesn't look like anything they sold you. The first move is the most psychologically violent. You have to stop believing the salary is the goal. Income is a treadmill. Assets are the machine that runs while you sleep. Every dollar you own should be working a second job. Most people's dollars retire at 5 p.m. The wealthy think in net worth. The rest think in monthly salary. That gap is everything. You don't need to be rich to start. You need to stop hemorrhaging money into systems designed to drain you. The average American spends $18,000 a year on things they don't track, don't need, and don't remember buying. Lifestyle inflation is the silent killer of generational wealth. Every time your income rises and your spending rises to match, the system wins again. The first year you don't inflate your lifestyle after a raise. That's the year the math changes. Tax-advantaged accounts are the one legal weapon they left in your hands. Most people ignore it. A maxed Roth IRA started at 25 is worth $1.8 million at 65 tax-free. Most people max Netflix instead. Index funds aren't exciting. They are, however, how most ordinary people actually build wealth. The S&P 500 has returned an average of 10.7% annually for the last 50 years. Boring, relentless, effective. Real estate isn't about owning property. It's about controlling an asset with someone else's capital. Your primary residence is not an investment. It is an expense with good marketing. The wealthy separate where they live from where they invest. Learn that distinction or pay for not knowing it. Building a second income stream isn't optional anymore. It is the minimum viable survival strategy. Digital assets, content, licensing, dividends, capital can be put to work in more forms than your employer told you. The creator economy generates over $250 billion annually, most of it captured by people who simply started. Knowledge arbitrage is the most underutilized asset of the working class. You know things people will pay for. The wealthy don't sell time. They package knowledge, systems, and assets. You can start doing the same today. Financial freedom is not a number. It is the point where your assets generate more than your expenses. Most people never reach it because they never calculated it. The system counts on you staying distracted, entertained, and just comfortable enough not to revolt. Every hour spent consuming instead of building is an hour the gap between you and financial freedom widens. You now know what most people will spend their entire lives never understanding. The question is what you do next. This channel exists for one reason: to give you the financial intelligence the system deliberately withheld. Subscribe. Because the next video covers the exact asset allocation strategy that makes the crossover point real. The people who watched this and did nothing, the system already counted on them. Don't be counted on.